Hey. If you've ever wondered whether someone can really go from "I love you with all my heart" to "I'll take you for everything you've got," let me save you the suspense. They can partners shift from sweet nothings to cold calculations. Discovered my wife had been cheating for years. I dropped divorce papers, vanished, and cut her off financially. Her life is falling apart. Well, I just found out something that's changed my life forever and not for the better. It's so hard to trust people these days. As far as I knew, my parents had the picture book marriage, and I always wanted something like that. Two people who can trust each other entirely, won't betray one another, and plan to grow old together. I don't know if you can get that these days. I mean, you probably can, but it seems like it's just the luck of the draw because someone might seem entirely reasonable and they're keeping massive secrets from you. I feel so numb about it. I, 33 male, have been married to my wife, 30 female, for 3 years now, but we dated for even longer before then. I really felt like I was on the right track because this woman loved me like I've never been loved before, and I never had an issue returning that energy to me. It was on its way to what my parents had. But I've learned a hard lesson that no matter how much someone might be presenting a certain energy outwardly, you can never ever know what is happening inside their heads or behind the scenes, and that sucks so much. The two of us met when we were in college, and I went to college out of state. She was in her home state, and I'd love to learn about her childhood and teenage years and how she grew up. One story that she told me was about her first boyfriend back in her high school days. Let's call that guy Desmond. They had the typical relationship that you'd expect from kids in high school. Two people very passionate about each other, but two people who were very naive and foolish. Their relationship ended in a year and some change, and according to her, that was it. She said that Desmond reached out to her a few times between then and when we met, and while she was polite, she always rebuffed his advances. She also used to tell me when he'd reach out to her once we started dating. I always appreciated the openness, and I think that when someone is open like that, it makes it a lot easier to trust them, since they're not hiding even the slightest things from you. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is because it obviously has to do with what has just ruined my perception of my marriage for good. My wife, let's call her Bianca for the sake of this, came home after doing some shopping one day. We talked, we ate dinner, and then she mentioned that Desmond had reached out to her and that he was being all needy. But she rebuffed him and reiterated to him that she was a married woman who wanted nothing to do with him. That sort of made me proud. And when we spent a few minutes gossiping about him and how pathetic it is to keep badgering an axe, then I went to the kitchen and I was making a cup of tea for myself. I noticed that she was fixated on her phone, and then she dropped it on the seat beside her to grab a bottle of juice from the fridge. This is when things happened pretty fast. I had finished making my tea, so I stepped back to the couch and I saw that she had left her phone with the screen on it, was still in a messenger conversation. I was like 90% sure that it said Des for the contact, and I could see one heart emoji from her side of the chat, but before I could sit down and have a closer look at it, it was like she had taken long strides and she was already by my side, and the first thing she did was swipe her phone off the seat, even though she could have sat down first. I noticed her looking at me through her peripheral vision, but I chose to act like I didn't see anything, and I just started an unrelated conversation. It was only then that she settled down. I'm not stupid. Even though I didn't see anything concrete and had no idea what they were talking about, that little episode was everything that I needed for my suspicions to instantly be aroused. I really questioned whether I should just confront her right away, but I had already acted like I didn't see anything, so I'd see it through, since that gave me the advantage of being able to check her phone without her suspecting anything. If I chose to confront her, she could always lie about it or deny it, and even if she told the truth, I might have gotten a tame truth. I wanted to know the absolute truth, so I decided that I was going to go pie on my own. I got my chance the next morning. When she went to the shower, she left her phone charging, and the moment I heard the water running, I decided to investigate. There was already a message from the hymn that she hadn't read that said, "Good morning," but it didn't let that stop me. I just opened it and then started scrolling through the messages. That's when I noticed that the two of them had been way too cozy with one another. I instantly knew that something was wrong, because the impression I had of her relationship with Desmond was that they barely spoke, and when they did, he was the graveling, pathetic ex, and she was the strong, cold woman. They were equally warm with one another. Unfortunately for me, the conversation was way too long for me to go through the entire thing, and before I knew it, I heard the water in the bathroom stop running. So I returned her phone and acted like I hadn't touched it. She didn't seem to notice anything when she eventually picked up her phone and wanted to start working on some of her art projects. I couldn't stop stewing in it the entire day. What I knew was enough for a massive fight, but I felt like there was more that I didn't know, and the only way that I would find out the entire truth would be to snoop through her entire conversation with Desmond. I wanted to know fast, but I knew that I had to be patient, so I decided to be. Here's the thing. Part of me felt like she couldn't be doing anything sneaky because I knew her password and she knew mine, but that gave me a particular advantage that night. While she slept, I logged into her Face account on my computer, and then it deleted the whole unrecognized sign in evidence from her email I was in. And sure, if she checked in her active sessions or whatever, she would see that my laptop had access. But I knew she wouldn't do that. So as she slept, I went through as much of the conversation as I could. There was a lot, and it definitely wasn't something that I'd finish up in a day. But from what I was able to read, I realized quite a few things. First of all, they had been talking very regularly for years. It wasn't just him popping in every now and then. Second, they clearly had a thing going on. They spoke affectionately with each other, which was the polar opposite of what she had told me. And when I went up high enough, I found a few messages that alluded to the fact that they had slept with one another. How many times I had no idea. Third, I know I can't be with her anymore. I have to end things, and I have to do that as soon as I can. This is the night after I read through their messages, and through the next day, and even tonight, I've been digging deeper and deeper into it all, while documenting the very notable parts in case they get deleted. I've searched up divorce lawyers, and I'm going to make a decision on one in the daytime. I'm just so hurt by this entire thing. Part of me wishes that I didn't find this out, but a bigger part of me appreciates knowing the truth. Like I said, I feel very numb about all of this. This is a woman who essentially only brings money into the home from her Etsy page. Yes, she takes care of all the household chores and has fun with her arts and crafts while I work, but it is crazy how I've been providing such a comfortable lifestyle for this woman while she cheats on me with her high school ex. She's been lying to me for years anyway. I'm going to be sure to provide an update when I can. Hopefully it will be me, letting you all know that I've successfully divorced her. If I can find a creative means of revenge to add on top of that, like sleeping with her sister or something, I'd love that. But that's me being unrealistic at it. Oh, after going through the entirety of their messages together, I've learned that they slept together multiple times, and that this has been going on for years, even before we got married. So the entire time that she was being open about Desmond, it seems that the objective was to knock me off the trail. It sure worked, but it is over now, and she has no idea now. I really want to hit her hard. What an absolute punch to the gut. I guess nothing is as perfect as it seems. You've been the hard-working partner, providing the comfortable lifestyle while she's been busy rekindling old flames. That's a whole different kind of evil. I mean, the good news is now you know the truth. It's a tough hill to swallow, but at least it's the real thing and not some half-baked version of Honest Update 1. Maybe I'm an evil person, or I'm just happy to watch someone get served by karma. But I think I've enjoyed everything that has happened since my last post way too much. This is just 2 months since then, and I finally feel like things are going my way, and they're going horribly for her. I'll do my best to recall everything that has happened over this time. The first thing I did was make sure to figure out the divorce lawyer I wanted to use, and when I found him, after talking at length, I paid his retainer and told him to get started on the papers. One thing that played a big role in my choice is that I have to get someone who is ready to do everything they can to protect my wealth. I'm in the tech industry and I earn a lot, I'll admit. It's why I never minded that Bianca didn't work. I was happy to support her and see her happy, but the moment I knew that things were going to fall apart, I knew I'd have to find someone to protect my wealth for me. So I settled on the particular lawyer the moment that the divorce papers were ready and she had left the house for a bit. I started packing. It took me a few days to pack as much as I needed without her having a clue blue, but the moment I did, I left the house and headed off to a neighboring city where I had already booked a hotel room. I gave my lawyer the green light the moment she messaged me and said, "Where are you?" so that he could send the process server over to the house. Yes, I know. It was kind of stupid for me to leave an emotionally unstable woman in the house alone, but it was the easy way out for me, and I had my most valuable things with me. Someone just stopped by the house and gave me divorce papers. This has to be some kind of joke, right? I still didn't respond to that, and that's when she started calling me over and over, but I didn't pick up a single one of the calls. She started getting hysterical in my messages asking me to pick up. And then she said, what was I doing wrong? That was when I simply said, Desmond and I blocked her on every single platform that I could think of her reaching me on. Whenever a number I didn't know would call me, I wouldn't answer because it seemed like it would have been her. I was going to use my lawyer as a proxy for pretty much everything. I didn't need to be in contact with her. She'd be able to contact him if she had any questions about signing the paper. It took nearly a month before she signed it, but she did, and that was all that mattered to me. It was literally the day after signing the papers that I finally decided to pick up one of those mystery calls. And to no one's surprise, it was her. There was a lot of quiet on the phone between us before she finally said hi. I just asked, "What do you want?" and then kept quiet again. I had to listen to about 1 minute of silence before she said, "Where are you?" I let her know that I'd never tell her, so she shouldn't bother. She started crying at that point. After her tears, she said, "I'm not doing good at all." I didn't say anything to that because I knew she wouldn't be doing good, and it didn't make me feel any sympathy. It only made me happier because I knew things were going my way. That's when the woman who I called my wife, who had been cheating on me for years with her high school ex-boyfriend, told me that money was tight, that she was struggling, and that she needed my help to get through the month. I thought about it for a minute because I don't want her to die, but I do want her to suffer. I don't care about anymore, so I decided F her. She has family she can turn to if it becomes do or die. I just hung up the phone. She tried to go back 8 times after that, but I left it to ring over and over again. Then my lawyer called me about a week later. He seemed amused that Bianca had called him to ask him to tell me that she was completely broke and she had nothing to eat. She was trying to appeal to my emotion, but it wasn't going to work. Her sister literally lives 40 minutes away. If things were that bad, she'd go to her sister's place. But it seemed that she didn't want any of them to know what was going on in her life. They'll find out sooner or later. The entire thing is a massive mess for her. But I can't say that I hate it. It feels just like a percentage of the pain that I need her to feel. She was used to the good life and was taking that for granted in the worst possible way. Now she's going to see what life is like after she set our marriage on fire. We haven't even started the divorce proceedings and things are already this bad for her. What more could I want? Update 2, well, this saga has finally come to a close. I hope the divorce is over, and all I can say is that things were exactly as I dreamed of. Honestly, it couldn't have been better for me. So let me quickly give you the lowdown. Once the papers were signed, my lawyers collected them, and it was time for things to get started. Needless to say, the part where we could have come to an agreement didn't go well at all. She wanted a full 50% of whatever it was in my bank account. Obviously that wasn't surprising, as she basically has nothing to her name I wasn't going to let that happen. Her lawyer event tried to negotiate at 25% of my assets, but I still didn't budge on that because my lawyer gave me some confidence that he'd be able to either get me off with less than that or nothing at all, though he admitted that the latter would be difficult. Eventually, we had to go in front of a judge, and with my evidence of her cheating and lying to me for years on end, plus doing nothing to contribute solidly to the household's income, despite us having children, things swung in my favor. She was going to be getting the house, and I was supposed to pay the mortgage for the next 2 years to give her time to get on her feet, but she absolutely refused. I think she was frightened of the expenses that would eventually be hers. So the agreement that we reached with the judge was to sell the house, pay off the mortgage, and split the remainder equally. That was all she would get. I think she was so broke that she jumped on that right away. Good thing was that the money that was left after paying the mortgage wasn't that substantial, at least not for more than 2 years tops. And the thing is, I know for a fact that she has been spending recklessly, as her sister called me, begging me to talk some sense and to Bianca, but I refused. She still doesn't know where I live either, because the only time we saw after I vanished were when we met up for divorce-related things. She hasn't gotten a job, and she's burning through the money she was awarded. Maybe she's spending some of it with Desmond. If she is good for him, he should enjoy it while it lasts. I never thought I'd be the kind of person to be joyful as Bianca's life falls apart, because I loved her so much once upon a time, but she betrayed me in the deepest level. So I'm glad to see that things are as bad as they can be for her. She deserves worse, and I'm happy she's getting what she's getting. Is there a moral to the story? I don't know. I guess in the end, I could have told the woman to block Desmond. There was no reason for her not to. If she had refused, that would have been a red flag. So yeah, maybe the morale is your woman should always be willing to cut off men who are nothing but a potential threat to your marriage or relationship. If she can't do that, then question how important you really are to her music. Divorce, the negotiations, the fights over money, the "I can't believe you're doing this to me" moments, all of it. Look up. I'm sure there's a part of you that feels bad, maybe a tiny ounce of guilt, but let's be real. She brought this on herself. If she can't cut ties with Desmond, then what exactly are you to her? The fact that she couldn't even do the bare minimum to preserve your marriage says everything. Soak it all in. What do you make of this? And thank you.